Welcome to a podcast by Kayleigh, the gateway to unlocking your unlimited potential. I'm creating an army of 6- and 7-figure makeup artists, and I want you to join me. In this podcast, I'm going to be crushing gatekeeping, opening the doors to the knowledge you need, and deep diving into the topics that can push us to the next level. Be prepared for epic guests and answers to the questions you have always wanted to know. No more small business. No more just a makeup artist. The beauty industry is a $250 billion industry, and you're in it. Let's get ready to open those gates. This is a podcast by Kayleigh. So I want to give you some backstory on how this episode came to be and how it turned out to be one of my favourite ones yet. When I was thinking about guests, I was wondering what knowledge gaps can I help fill? And I know we as makeup artists, hairstylists, beauty professionals, we are not utilising email marketing enough. So I've been following the incredible Eman from emancopyco.com for about a year now, and she's fantastic. She is the go-to resource for all things email marketing and copy, and I knew I had to bring her on. When I reached out to her, I'll be honest, I didn't think she would have time. She has her own multi-award-winning podcast. I didn't think I would have a chance, but Eman gladly came on, and we have got a belter of an episode today, guys. Sometimes in a podcast by Kayleigh, we have those kind of episodes that are relaxed and very mindset focused. This one is full of action. You guys are going to want to get your pens, your paper, your iPads, whatever you take notes on, you're going to need it today. But first, let me tell you about Eman. Now, Eman is an email conversion strategist and copywriter at her fabulous website, emancopyco.com. She helps 6-figure business owners and brands fire up their conversions, their sales, and turn fans into super fans. She's worked with powerhouses like Emily Thompson from Being Boss. By the way, I've listened to that podcast for years, so when I found that out, I was like, OMG. And she's been featured in publications like Copy Hackers and Freelancer magazine. She also has her own badass podcast that I'm obsessed with called Mistakes That Made Me. The way that I actually discovered Eman was really interesting. I was browsing for a new podcast on Apple Podcasts one day, and I was on their top 100 business charts, and there she was. You're actually going to listen to that moment later on in the episode, so keep an ear out for it. But today we are going to be talking all about how makeup artists can utilize email marketing and how this can absolutely skyrocket your income and your bookings. Seriously, guys, if you are not utilizing email marketing, I promise you, it can be so game-changing. Eman really is such an amazing resource for this, and we are so lucky to be able to hear from her today and absorb all of her amazing knowledge. This one is full of nuggets, guys, so get ready and please welcome the incredible Eman. Hi, Eman. I'm so pleased to be talking to you today. I've been the biggest fan of your content for such a long time, so I'm so pleased to introduce you to my listeners today. Would you mind introducing yourself and telling everybody a little bit about what you do?
Yes. Firstly, thank you so much for having me. I am also super excited to be here. So my name is Eman Ismail, and I am an email strategist and copywriter. So I help online business owners fire up their conversions, evergreen their sales, and turn fans into super fans using email marketing. So all with email.
So I guess the first thing that I just want to get the elephant in the room out the way. What is a copywriter? What does a copywriter do? Like, if you could sum it up for a dummy, what does it mean?
Great. So a copywriter is someone who writes all the words in your marketing. So that could be your website, like the words on your website is copy. That's usually done by a copywriter. It could be even the words on the billboards that you see outside. That's marketing, copywriters, video scripts, YouTube scripts, social media captions. That's copy as well. And of course, what I do, email marketing. So the words in the emails that you get from companies and businesses that are trying to sell you stuff in a good way, not like the spammy ones or the scammy ones, but the businesses and companies that are trying to, sell you their stuff through email, that's also written by a copywriter. So I think the main importance and the main thing to understand between kind of regular writing and copywriting is that copywriting always has the goal of selling something and persuading the audience to act in a certain way. So, or to do a certain thing. So it might be buy now. It might be download, my ebook. It might be buy a ticket to my live event or join the webinar. Whatever it is, it's the words that are trying to get you to do a certain thing and to sell you on a certain action.
How did you get started in it?
So I actually was working for a food charity. And if you know anything about working in the charity sector, you know that you have one role and then you kind of end up doing a million roles.
I've heard this.
Oh yes. And the pay does not reflect million roles ever. So I can't even remember what my role was, but it just kind of blossomed into many things. But eventually I ended up running the marketing and communications department. As in, I was the only person in the department responsible for all the marketing, all the comms. That was the digital marketing. So website, social media, video content, all of that stuff, case studies, and then all of the printed marketing materials as well. The brochures, stuff that's really important for a charity. And then like all the fundraising campaigns and stuff. So there was a lot going on. And I was also, as part of my role, doing copywriting. So it was only a really small part it was a big part of my job, but it was just one of many parts. And whenever I did it though, I really enjoyed it and I really loved it. So that was like me writing new website copy, like, different website pages, me creating the new brochure. And I'm still so proud of this brochure. I still have it because it was just such an amazing moment to kind of see. I think that might be the first time that I was like, wow, I am a writer now, seeing this thing that I'd created in front of me. And of course, I used to write their emails as well. So working for a charity, I was writing marketing emails that was trying to get people to donate to certain causes. And the most amazing thing was sending an email to, a couple thousand people and then actually watching the donations come in after I had asked them to donate. Yeah, this immediate direct response. It was amazing, which is funny because email marketing is also known as direct response copywriting because you get that literal direct response from the audience. So sending out this email, asking for a donation, and then watching the donations come in, it was really powerful. It made me realize just how powerful email marketing is. And so I actually ended up leaving this job for a number of reasons. I was doing quite a few roles and I wanted to make more. There was quite a low earning cap on my kind of earning potential and I really wanted to make more. I had a 2-year-old at the time. I wanted to be more present for him. I was commuting from one state to another for this job. And it just meant that I was taking a lot of time out of my just life. And I wasn't seeing my son as much as I needed to. I'd had to hire a childminder to pick him up from nursery every day because I couldn't manage it with the times and the commute. And it just got to the stage where I felt actually quite depressed because I wasn't seeing my son enough. Every day I'd get home and he'd be asleep on the sofa. And he'd be asleep on the sofa because he was waiting for me to come home and he'd refuse to go to bed. So he knew I was coming and he'd wait up. And he's only 2 at this point, but he could never stay awake because he was so tired. So he would end up asleep on the sofa. And then I would like rush home down pretty sure it was the M62 at the time, rush home and try to get back before he fell asleep. And every day I'd come in and he was asleep. And it was just devastating. I was missing out on his life. It wasn't worth the sacrifice. So I ended up resigning from this job. And I had a month's notice to work, did that month's notice. And in that time, I decided that I want to start my own business. And this is something I'd actually tried to do twice before. And it just never really worked out. And I look back now and I know that's because I didn't really believe I could do it. I couldn't be successful even if I wanted to because I'd already decided I wasn't going to be successful. And I couldn't go any further than that. But this time, the third time, things were very different. I now had a child and failure was not an option. So I needed to figure it out and I needed to build a business that would allow me the freedom and flexibility that I wanted so that I could be the parent that I wanted to be and so that I could earn the money that I wanted. And so that was in 2018. So 5 years later, I started off as a generalist copywriter, so I used to do a bit of everything. But since then, I'm now an email strategist and copywriter. I'm running a 6-figure business, hopefully, possibly multi 6 figures by the end of this year. We shall see if I hit the goal. And I also have another son as well now. So lots of things have changed, but still loving where I am.
Oh my God. I found that so inspiring. Just honestly, I want to take a moment and be present for you, because that's one day I don't have children, I have a dog. And one day I want to be able to do exactly what you've done and start creating a life where I can be present for them and where they can be proud of me and look at how badass their mum is. And you've done that. You're like the proof in the pudding. And it all came from just believing you could, right?
Thank you so much. Yes, it did. It really did. And you know, there were some times when some days I struggled to believe that I could, and I had the most, and I always say this because I think it's really important. It makes such a difference. I had the most supportive family who told me that I could do it and who believed in me. And, you know, a lot of people ask me the question, oh, you know, did you get a lot of side eyes from people from your family? Like, what are you doing quitting your real job? No, I never did. I have a family that is filled with entrepreneurs. And so they get it, which is just such a big deal in itself. Like they get it and they believed that it was possible, and they believed in me when I didn't believe in me. And so it was actually one of my uncles who came to me and said, because he could see how upset I was in this role, it just wasn't working out. And as I was trying to leave the job, the situation was just getting kind of worse and worse, and to the point where it was untenable. I couldn't stay anymore. And my uncle came to me and said, you are going to quit this job, you're going to start your own business, and you will be successful. And so that was that. I was like, okay, wow. He said it, let's do it.
I love that. We love supportive families. We love supportive uncles. Thank you to that uncle for giving you what you needed in that moment. Why writing? Did you just find yourself at the charity just really enjoying the process of writing and seeing how instant the feedback and essentially the money could come in? Was it like that feeling, or did you always want to be a writer?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be a writer. I've always wanted to be a writer. I don't know. I want to say I dreamt of writing like a novel, but really in my heart of hearts, I knew I was never going to be a novel writer because I don't have the patience for it. I did get into short stories for a while and loved short stories. And so really it came about because I discovered that I could get paid to write and that people would pay me to write. And I was absolutely amazed by that. It was such a shock to me. And that was really when I started discovering that there were these people called copywriters who have made, full-time businesses and careers out of this, who are making serious money. Initially, when I first started, I was charging like £15 an hour, which is not a lot at all, especially when you're a business owner. As you well know, if you're listening, you have a million things to pay for. That's not going to pay for any of it. So initially I had no idea, how to price what I was doing with my rates and all that kind of thing. That came kind of later on. Initially, I guess when I got to the point of charging properly and well, making good money and thinking, okay, actually, this is I'm still a writer. I'm just a different type of writer. And then it got even better because I got into email. And with me getting into email and only working on email with clients now, I also have my own newsletter too. And so my newsletter is really all about me telling stories that help people write better emails, that help make them think more about email marketing, make them think about business. And so I really get to be a writer and I get to decide what that means for me. And I get to do it in a way that works for me. Like novel writing didn't work for me, but writing short stories and sending them as emails does. And it makes me money, which is bonus points. And I'll be honest, I actually know a few people with published books. It's not easy to make money as a novelist. I think the copywriters might be making a bit more money. And so hopefully I chose the right path.
I think you did. There is one thing that I felt immediately drawn to. I mean, I was drawn to you probably within 3 seconds without being creepy. Your copy is so fun. It's so warm. I know you love pizza. I know you love podcasts. You use emojis in your email signature. It's just so fun. And I really felt like me and you haven't even had a DM conversation before. We've only spoken like maybe 4 emails between us. But I really felt your warmth and how fun. And I just knew on this podcast we would have fun together. And that is incredible. I feel like a lot of my community and entrepreneurs in general struggle with injecting their personality or fun into their emails, their copy, just everything, all the words. A lot of my community say, oh, I don't want to put that emoji because that's not professional. Is this something you come across a lot in your line of work?
Oh, yeah. Firstly, thank you for all the lovely things you just said. And it's so great to see that my copy works, because that's the point. It's supposed to create a relationship between us before we've even really had like a real life conversation. And that's what's so great about good copy, by the way, is that it does the hard work and the heavy lifting for you. By the time the person comes to you, they already have a relationship with you, or they feel like they have a relationship with you. And so much of the hard work is done where, you know, that creating that relationship, creating that rapport, they already like you, they already know you, they already trust you. And now you just got to kind of like hold the hand to the, you know, to get through the sale process. So thank you. And I think, yes, initially, when I first started out, it was very difficult to get clients to like drop the professional kind of costume, like personality, because that's what some business owners think they need to be or need to do. And I think it comes with confidence and experience that you realize that actually what's going to help me get the most clients or sell the most, whatever it is that I sell, is being myself and helping people get to know me and like me, or my brand, if, you know, sometimes you aren't your brand. So, you know, in that case. But I think now when you go on my website, like you said, if you are in my world on Instagram or even LinkedIn, and that's a really good place to find me as well, because you'll see that I am not, you know, quote unquote professional on LinkedIn either. You will get a taste of my personality. I'm not afraid to be me. I believe and have always believed, and I'll say this even when I was studying English language, there was this argument about whether language is descriptive or prescriptive. So prescriptive meaning like there are rules and regulations that we need to follow. Grammar is like, these are the rules and you need to follow them. Or is language descriptive, where there is room for play and for you to kind of stray away from the rules, like all these, you know, grammatical rules and that kind of thing. And even then at 16, 17, 18, I really believe that language is descriptive. And so that's my philosophy now. I get to play with my words, with my language, with my, you know, email copy. I use emojis as punctuation. Yeah. And so it's really all part of my personality as when I'm writing. And so now the people that come to me can already see that on my website, on my Instagram, on my LinkedIn. So I don't get any pushback anymore about that, because they know that's how I write. And if someone comes to me and they're looking for like super professional, like kind of dry writing, I'm not the person for them. And they will be repelled by my website. Like they'll be disgusted and they will flee. They will flee in the opposite direction. But that's a great thing, because you want the wrong people to flee away from you, and you want the right people that you actually want to attract to come to you with, you know, acceptance of who you are and how you do your work.
What would you say then to, I know there's going to be a lot of artists listening who are going to be like, oh my God, like my copy is not great. I know, I used to be in that boat as well. My copy used to say, my name is Kayleigh and I am a professional makeup artist of 10 years based in London, and I trained at X, Y, and Z, and I use Mac, and it was just like not very fun to read. So for those artists who are, and the listeners that are listening and they're like, oh no, I think I need to spice it up, where do they start?
That's such a good question. So a lot of the time, I think the issue is that we can express ourselves quite well, but when it comes to getting that down on paper or, you know, on your computer, suddenly you are like almost like the pressure of having to write it just completely crushes you and takes away, like stifles your creativity and just your ability to do it. So I recommend that you actually record yourself. So even if you could be having a conversation with someone about how you might introduce yourself, or even just talking about what you do, like if someone asks you, like, what do you do? And then just talk to them, like human to human, one to one on that personal level, and record yourself doing it. And that will give you not exactly the copy that you will, you know, that you can use, but it'll give you a starting point. So you can start looking at, we'll listen back to the recording, transcribe the recording, and then have a look at how do I talk about myself in a natural setting when I'm not worried about writing, and use that as your kind of starting point, almost like a jump off to figure out how you can describe yourself in a more personable, kind of casual, less formal way, because the reality is that we worry about, I think, writing, but the truth is it's just a conversation between you and one other person. I say one other person because, and this is one of my greatest copy tips. This applies to if you're writing marketing emails, your newsletters, or if it's, copy for your website. What you want to do is think about just writing to one person. So stop thinking about like all the hundreds and or thousands of people you might be talking to, and just think about your most ideal client or customer. Have them in mind when you're writing, and then write to just that one person, because it really allows you to firstly focus on what it is that you are communicating to this one person versus all these hundreds and like thousands of people that I have to talk to. And then also it allows you to just go back to that human level where you realize, like, I'm not just talking to a sea of faces. I'm talking to one human being. And I can talk to them like I'm a normal person. I am a normal human. Don't need to like be really stiff and static with my language. I can just be me.
Yes. I especially find in like the makeup industry in particular, this is an area where it's so connection focused. If you're hiring a makeup artist, you're hiring perhaps a person to handhold you on one of the biggest days of your life, or you're hiring somebody to get you into a character. So that emotional element is really, really high in this particular industry. And I think not a lot of makeup artists utilize that. Like they're buying you for you a lot of the time, because generally makeup all kind of looks the same. Obviously, you've got some top level and you've got some newbie makeup artists, but I always think the one thing that sells you is you, right?
It's so true. It really is. And the truth is exactly what you said. There are so many for people to choose from that there has to be like a differentiation. That has to be a way for people to tell you apart. And that's just by you being you. And people will, if someone likes you, they will hire you and they will pay whatever they need to pay, whatever you tell them to pay, because they like you. They want you. Someone else could probably do their makeup in a similar way, but they want you and they will pay for you. And so it's really important to showcase and communicate what that means. Who are you? And why should I care? Why should I invite you into my life? Why should I trust you? And so again, business is a very human thing. We forget that as well sometimes. I mean, as business owners, we wear so many hats and we're so focused on one day is admin, another day is like accounting, and another day is sales, and another day is marketing. But actually it's all just a human relationship thing. It's all about making those connections, making your ideal audience feel seen, feel heard, make them feel like you know them, like you understand them. And that actually, if they were to hire you, you'd really get along. And it goes back to what you said at the beginning of this podcast interview. Before you met me, you'd felt like you already knew me and that you'd get along with me. And that goes so far in people wanting to give you their money.
So I'd like to pivot a little bit to one of your particular zones of genius, which is email marketing and lists. This is something that I know for a fact that makeup artists are not utilizing. I don't know a single one, Eman, who has an email list, not a single one. So I would love to spend some time, because I know we're all sleeping on it. And I know from having a list myself how powerful they can be. So why do you teach this? Why are you so passionate about email lists and email marketing?
I am so passionate about this because it's a really great way to make money. And once you have figured it out, it's honestly a gold mine if you can do it properly. And sometimes people don't bother with email lists because they think, I need to have, thousands and thousands of subscribers, but that's just not true at all. I remember when I launched the first iteration of my online course, only invited 424 people to sign up to the course. There were 12 spots. It was like high ticket, online course type of thing. All 12 spots sold out. And I had oh my gosh, I want to say, was it a $35,000 launch? This is the thing. You don't need a huge number of people on your email list. You need the right people on your email list. And so if you can figure out email marketing, if you can commit to email marketing, it's a really great way. As you said, people don't have email lists in your industry. I was like, oh my God, I can already see what I would do with a makeup artist client. You get to build those connections that we were talking about. Emails are like the 21st century version of having a pen pal and writing letters to people. It's so cool because people carry their emails in their pockets now. The equivalent of having someone's phone number. You might not have like the phone number of all these leads, but you do have their email address, or you can get the email address if you work on getting their email address. And so with that comes the ability to create a connection with them and a relationship with them, which leads to them trusting you, which leads to them hiring you. And as well, I know that most people will depend on social media. They probably don't have an email list because they do so well on social media. And I can imagine with makeup artists, it must work so well on social because it's such a visual thing, right? You get to share it on video and photo, but also you can do that in email. And you don't own the followers that you have on social media. And I use social media, so I'm not hating on social media at all. But this is the truth. This is the reality. If your account gets hacked tonight, you wake up tomorrow with no business. That's insane. And the people who run these companies are not particularly committed to helping you get your business back either. And literally anything could happen. The social media platform could shut down. And like Google Podcasts is about to end now. We know that there have been social media platforms that just die overnight. I mean, Twitter might be on its way out. Who would have thought that? And so you don't want to rely on social media for your business. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You really do want to make sure that you have backups. And email doesn't even need to be a backup. Like email can be at the forefront of your business. And I will also say as well that you can't control on social media who sees your message. So you're putting out posts and reels and whatever else out into the world on these social media platforms. And then the algorithm decides who sees them, how many people see them. And so the majority of your audience never even sees your posts, which is very frustrating because we put a lot of work into our social media content. But with email, it's something like, I've forgotten the exact stat, but it might be like 96% delivery rate kind of thing, where when you send an email to your email list, the majority of those subscribers will actually receive your message. Your message will hit their inbox and they will get the chance to open it, read it, engage with it, buy from you. You cannot say the same about social media. I never say, you have to choose one or the other, but I do say do both.
Preach everything you were saying. I just was like, everything I agree with, every single thing I agree with. I'm doing a launch this week. I go on holiday, some context, throughout the whole of November. I'm going to be away for Black Friday, which is obviously quite a big commerce date to be away for. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to push Black Friday up a month. I'm just going to do my Black Friday this month. And I've done it this week. So I'm doing an offer every single day for one of my services. And it has been, if I get to Sunday and I have, hit all the little targets that I want to hit, it will have been almost a 20K week from my list of 560 people. That speaks volumes,
right? That's amazing.
Right? Thank you.
That is amazing. I'm so interested to know the type of, I know I'm not supposed to ask you questions, but I'm really interested to know the type of content that you send to your subscribers.
Oh my gosh. Well, I will happily tell you. I mean, I don't know if I'll edit this out, but maybe I'll keep it in. So every Monday I send like a hit. It's just like a hit. Here's what's going on in the community. Here's my latest podcast episode. Here's my latest blog post. Here is like a tip that you can implement this week. There'll be tons of like little things from this every Monday hit. I also send a Friday hit of like social media news. So it's called my social media bulletin. And it's like, this is what Twitter's doing that you should maybe be aware of. This is what Facebook's doing. This is what Instagram has done this week. Friday, I'm giving them like loads of juicy value. So I do spend maybe like an hour and a half on email marketing a week, but
that's amazing. So you send 2 emails a week, right?
Yeah, 2 emails a week to the general list. Yeah. This podcast is brought to you by the Level Up Club, my monthly membership for makeup artists. Imagine a place created with done-for-you monthly resources and coaching, literally everything you need to create and scale a profitable, thriving makeup business. Well, it exists, and it's called the Level Up Club. I am so proud of this membership. I literally poured my heart and soul into it. Inside, you will find monthly Canva templates, monthly stock images, social media calendars, email templates, workflows, pro program lists, agency lists, monthly coaching and conversations with the people who can help smash gatekeeping. I'm talking agency owners, PRs, top makeup artists and experts. They're all inside. And not only that, but monthly in-person events. We have already held portfolio days, headshot days, branding days, and so much more is coming. The club is taking the mystery out of making money. Your makeup business doesn't have to be make-believe, and I'm showing you how. And guess what? It's only £30 a month. In London, that's literally 2 hot chocolates. I'm not even kidding. So come and join us, the only membership I promise you'll ever need. Now, back to the pod.
Yeah, that's amazing. And also you touched on the other thing that I absolutely love about email marketing that I forgot to say, which is that you can schedule and automate things. Actually, this is how mine goes. So I've scheduled a newsletter, and then my list opens the newsletter. And at the bottom of every newsletter, I always invite people to check out my, online courses or whatever, masterclasses, that kind of thing, so that I'm constantly selling. Every time I send out an email, the email itself might not be like, buy my thing now, but at the bottom, there's always the invite to buy. When someone clicks on, say, a specific masterclass and it takes them to the sales page to go check it out. Well, now I know that they're interested in that thing. And if they haven't bought, I've set up a funnel so that they then receive emails for the next couple of days, inviting them to join with like save $50 type of thing. Because now I know that they're interested, but they didn't buy. So what was stopping them? Okay, so maybe they just need to talk through this a little bit more. So every email kind of touches on, the benefits of buying this, the course and what it'll teach you inside. Because sometimes people just need a bit of a longer conversation. And so now I'll be out for a walk, or I'm with my kids somewhere, or I'm in the shop, or I'll wake up in the morning to a sale. And it is so exciting. And that is the power of email. Like I'm not making millions, but you're making enough that first of all, it's exciting and, you get a skip in your step and, it's covering business expenses, or it's a nice like addition to, the client work that I'm doing. And if you can be strategic about this, it's a really great way to automate sales.
We are geeking out over email marketing. Can we meet up one day and do this in person?
We need to. We really do.
I could talk about this for actual hours. Like, I'm so interested. But back to the podcast. So for a listener who is like, yeah, okay, I need to get on this. And I'm telling you guys, you need to get on this. Where do they start?
Okay, great. Well, the first thing is choose an email service provider. So there are a bunch of tools that you can use to send your newsletters that are specifically made for business owners like us who want to send newsletters, who want to sell through their emails. I would recommend ConvertKit because I love ConvertKit. I've tried MailChimp. I've tried ActiveCampaign. I was with both of those for years. I recently just moved to ConvertKit and love it because it was specifically created for small business owners like us and creators like us. Once you are inside, you want to start focusing on building your email list. So how do you do that? How do you get your first few subscribers? Now, you want a lead magnet. A lead magnet is something that you give okay, so Kayleigh, say you want to join my email list. I'm going to create a lead magnet, and this is going to be something valuable that you want. And I say, sure, you can have this lead magnet, but only if you give me your email address in exchange. So this is an exchange. So you give me your email address and then I deliver the lead magnet to you. So if you're listening to this, you have signed up for a lead magnet at one point or another, right? Even if it's so many, too many. I have an entire email account just dedicated to lead magnets. So you, even if it's just, get 10% off your first purchase, that would classify as a lead magnet because it's that exchange of, well, give me your email address and I'll give you something in return. A lead magnet can be anything. It could be a discount. It could be an ebook. It could be a video class. I have a video class. It could be a private podcast. It could be anything. Honestly, the opportunities and the options are just endless. So you want to figure out, what will my audience find valuable? Like, what will they want enough that they will give me that email address for? Like, you want to make it really valuable, really juicy. So to figure that out, the first thing I would say is, if I'm a makeup artist, and maybe Kayleigh, you can answer this question, what are some of the struggles that my customers have? I need to start really with figuring out, okay, well, what are the problems that my customers have? What do they struggle with that I can help them with or provide a solution for? Can you answer that for me?
I could give a load off the top of my head. If you're a bridal makeup artist listening, your brides are probably struggling with their, pre-wedding skincare. You could give them a little mini ebook freebie on, this is a timeline for your facials and your beauty treatments. You could even go one step further. You could create like a tiny 7-day mini video course on this is the basics of what you should be doing to look after your skin, or here is like a mini course on doing your everyday makeup. There's so many things. You just got to, for me, look at your customers' pain points and solve it in a little way. Solve it in like a teeny weeny but very valuable way, right?
Yes, exactly. You're solving pain points through your lead magnet. Now, I can already hear the listener saying, well, if I do that and I help them and I tell them how to do their own makeup and I tell them how to do this and how to do that, what's the point in them hiring me? They won't hire me because I've just given them all the answers. But here's the truth. Number one, most people can't be bothered to do it themselves. They just want to know that you know how to do it. So you are proving your knowledge and your expertise through this. It really is like a show of your knowledge and expertise. Like, I really know what I'm talking about. Because the truth is, there are a lot of people on the internet that don't know what they're talking about. And our audience really needs to know that we're not one of those people. They need to be able to trust us. And so you give them this valuable lead magnet. They say it's the 7-day video class of tutorial. And they're watching it and they're amazed. And they're like, okay, Kayleigh knows what she's doing. I want to work with her. I want to hire her. And you know what? It might not be right then. And some other people might take all your advice and actually implement all your advice. And that's amazing. But guess what? When they do need a makeup artist, you're the first person they think of. Or when their friend is getting married, you're the first person they think of. And so you are really showing yourself to be the expert, the leader, the authority in your field, so that you are always top of mind for this person. And this is why when it comes to sending emails, and I'm sure we'll talk about this, you want to make sure that you're sending regular emails. So the fact that you, Kayleigh, send 2 emails a week is amazing. I recommend at the very least 1 a week. Anything less than that, it's not enough emails for your customers and your clients to remember your existence. They're busy with life. But guess what? Every time you send them an email once a week and you pop up in their inbox, oh yeah, Kayleigh, I love Kayleigh's emails. Let me read her email. And it's just a reminder like, hey, I'm here. Either buy from me now, hire me now, or if you don't need me right now, just remember that I exist so that when you do need me, you know who to come to. So that's the job of the lead magnet. And so by the time they join your email list, they have this lead magnet that you've sent them. It's your job to make sure that they are opening your email and they are watching the class inside, because that is a whole other story. Like, getting them to give you your email address is one thing. Getting them to open the email and then watch the class is a totally different thing. And so after that, once they have engaged with your class or they've signed up for it, you then want to start sending them regular emails, and that would be a newsletter. And so the kind of content you might want to send is, I'm sure we'll talk about that in detail in a minute.
That was literally my next question that I've got is, okay, so they're on, maybe MailChimp or hopefully ConvertKit. Now what? I know the biggest question that's going to be is, what the heck do I write on a weekly basis? And is this another level of content that I need to keep up with? And I just want to say, by the way, writing my emails is, in my opinion, way more fun than Instagram content to create. I find it so fun. So it's something extra to do. But anyway, I'll let you answer the question.
Yeah. Well, you make a great point. Firstly, you don't always have to start from scratch. So if you're already creating Instagram content, what you want to do is have a look at the content that's performing the best, because that shows you what people are most interested in. So if you had a reel that that was really popular, or a post that got a good number of likes and comments and that kind of thing, well, you can turn that into an email. So no, you don't want to like copy and paste it exactly, but do take that and then base your email off it. So you could copy and paste it, but then add more to it, add another layer to it. Like, give me more info, more context, because an email allows you to get, a bit more detailed. You have literally more space to just share more. And so that's the first thing. You don't always have to start from scratch. You should repurpose, reuse your existing content. But remember that the goal, you really have to consider what your goal is. So if you do take that content from Instagram and put it into an email, you flesh it out, make it more kind of interesting, even more interesting, even more detailed, even more layered, you don't just want to send people back to Instagram. Like think very carefully about, because it's hard to get people to open your email. So if a person has gone to the effort of opening your email and reading your email, remember the number of emails you have in your inbox. They chose you because they're interested in what you offer them. Have a think, well, what do I want them to do next? What do I want them to do next? That might be go to my website and check out X, or go to my website and book me. Whatever it is, just be very intentional and strategic about that. And then in terms of other types of content that you can use in your emails, I would always say go with behind the scenes content, because people love, and you know this from social media, people love behind the scenes content. So I like to think of my emails as a really like behind the scenes of my business. This is where I get really open and really vulnerable. And it feels safer to be more open because it's not social media where, you know, a post could go viral and then you've got all these people that you don't know looking at your post, having opinions about you and what you do. With email, it feels a little bit safer because these people have literally opted in. They have chosen to be in your kind of email community. And so these people have chosen you, and you can just feel a bit safer in knowing that they know you, they like you, they want to hear from you, they have asked to hear from you. And so behind the scenes content works really well. And that really makes people feel VIP, like they're very important. They are special. They're getting information that maybe people on your socials aren't getting. So things like even just showing around like your workspace, you know, what that looks like, maybe, you know, the tools that you use, show people the inside of your business and get a bit more open and vulnerable with your email list. And of course, don't share anything you're not comfortable with. You don't have to like violate your own privacy or anything like that. You get to choose what the line is for you. You get to decide, I don't want to share, you know, anything beyond this. For example, I talk a lot about my kids, but I never mention their names. I never share, you know, their faces. I never share our like location. So like live location, it'll always be something that happened in the past. So I'm very conscious of their safety, their privacy. That's the line I've drawn for myself. You get to choose your own lines, right? The other thing is value. Education, advice, make your emails just valuable for them. So they're always learning something from you. And that doesn't mean it's always like 3 tips, 5 tips, 10 tips, because that can get really exhausting very quickly for you who's creating the content, and also for your readers who are like, oh my gosh, there's so much to learn. I'm overwhelmed by the amount there is to learn. You know, choose like one small thing that you want to teach them in each email, one thing in one way that you want to provide value. And sometimes value isn't always education. So maybe you're not teaching them something new, but maybe you're getting them to reflect or think about something that they've never considered before. Or maybe you're telling them a funny story, because guess what? Value can be funny as well. you just giving them a better day, making them smile, is you providing value, you know? Another thing I would say is storytelling is a really great way to share your email content. Tell stories, because everyone loves a story, and it doesn't have to be, you know, a novel. It shouldn't be a novel. It can't be a novel with emails, but maybe you worked with a client that day and I don't know, you had a near miss with a, I don't know, big fail. I actually just came across this podcast that shares like fails in the wedding industry. And one of them was the makeup artist put the bride's dress on the sprinkler to like, you know, hang it up. And then the sprinkler went off in the hotel and the dress was destroyed and the entire hotel was destroyed. And like everything was destroyed. So if you're the makeup artist in that situation, you don't want to tell that story to your email list. However, you know, if you're someone else in the room who wasn't the cause of that mess, that's a story you want to tell your, you know, your email list. Like, this is what happened today. And another idea is, you know, I worked with this client, like showcase your clients, showcase who you're working with, because people like to see that, you know, people like to see, well, who else is hiring you? Who else is working with you? Are they like me or are they totally different to me? And so doing like, you know, client profiles, like this is the bride's makeup that I did this weekend, why I did this makeup, this is why I did it this way, this is what she wanted, this is how it turned out. And, you know, she was worried about working with me because she had never hired a makeup artist before, but here's what she has to say now that the experience is done.
Wow. You've literally just gone down my whole list, like all the list of questions that I have. Everything has been answered, but there is one more that I would like to ask you before we go on to our game. But I will say this is such a valuable episode. Like, I just know everybody is going to be brimming with ideas. I hope they will be inspired to start building their list, because it really is so valuable, guys. And like I said, I actually love writing my emails now. I never used to, but when you find like a little groove with it and you start to find what you like to write about, it becomes really fun. So last question that I have for you. I know that a lot of people are going to be worried about feeling too salesy. I hear this a lot in the community. A lot of people feel like a bit icky about selling. A lot of people feel that it will put a lot of people off if they're reading, a sales email. I can put my hands up and say I unsubscribe from very salesy, overly salesy emails all the time. So what's your opinion on treading that line between, like, obviously we want to sell, like we have so much value to give, so we should be selling, but how do we create an email that's a little bit of selling, a little bit of value? Like, what's the perfect recipe?
Yes. Okay. This is a really good question, because it's a worry that a lot of business owners have. And the thing is, if you are providing enough value, then you don't need to be worried about selling. So think it's like having that friend who is constantly asking you for money. You kind of start avoiding that friend, right? You don't want to be around them. You ignore their phone calls. You won't respond to them. You'll kind of avoid them whenever you can. And it's the same with email. If you are only ever asking for a sale, if you're only ever asking for your subscribers' money, get sick and tired of you. They'll avoid you. They'll unsubscribe. But if your friend is a good friend, if the relationship feels, reciprocal, if they give you more than they take, that's when you're okay with lending them money, right? It's okay. You're happy to. Again, it's the same with email. So if you are giving them something, if you're giving them value and you're giving more than you're taking, or giving more than like you're asking for, then your subscribers will be okay with you selling to them, because it will feel like a more balanced relationship. You're not just always wanting something from me. You're actually providing me with value. You're giving me something. I enjoy reading your emails. Yes, please do sell to me. Yes, I want to know how you can help me. I want to know how you can make my life better. And so that's when you kind of get to stop feeling icky about selling and feel like I've earned this. Because I don't know about you, but I work so hard on my emails that by the time it's like, right, I've got a launch, I don't care who doesn't like me selling, because I'm like, I have worked so hard on providing you great emails for the past however long that it's now my turn. Step aside. This is my time to shine and I will sell. And at the end of the day, there will be some people who still don't like that and they'll unsubscribe. And that's okay, because two things: if they do unsubscribe at that point, they were never going to buy from you anyway. You're just speeding up the process, which is great, because number two, you're paying for every subscriber. You're literally paying for every subscriber that you have through your email service provider, whether it's MailChimp, ConvertKit, whoever it is. And you don't want to be paying for people who are just there to kind of dilly-dally. This is a business, not a charity at the end of the day. And everybody who joins your email list knows that you're a business and that you have stuff to sell. And here's something I do as well to mitigate that. At the beginning of when people first sign up to my email list, they'll get an email. They get a bunch of emails called a welcome sequence. And that's a whole different thing. But so initially when they get my lead magnet, they go through my welcome sequence, which is a series of emails that goes out every day for a week, for example. You can actually enter my welcome sequence through the video class that I'll share with you in a minute. So you can actually see what a welcome sequence looks like in kind of real time. But in one of those emails, I actually say, I like to sell my stuff. I talk about my products. I talk about my courses. I talk about how you can hire me and how you can become my client. This is a business. I will sell to you. And if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe right here. And I told them exactly where to unsubscribe. And I include a little unsubscribe link. Here you go. Because I'm not hiding it from you. Like, I don't want you complaining later on that I'm selling. Like, if you don't want me to sell, please go right now and save us all the energy and the time. Here's the button right here. So you can also do that, because I'm setting expectations. I'm here to sell. I will also provide, great value, but I'm also here to sell. And if you don't like that, then this isn't the right place for you.
Incredible. I could geek out about this all day. Do you have 10 more minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. So I like to do a little game at the end of every podcast episode called Smashing the Gate. My whole mission with By Kayleigh is to smash down the gates of gatekeeping that stop women from earning more money and stop us from achieving our dreams and all that good stuff. So this is a quick fire round of kind of anti-gatekeeping questions. So are you ready? Ready? Let me try and read my awful handwriting. Let's go. What is a common myth or misconception that you would like to bust about your industry? That's a really hard one to start off with, actually.
That is a hard one. A common myth. Okay, I guess copywriters should be cheap, because here's the thing. I think because everyone can physically pick up a pen and write, there are some people who feel like, oh, well, this, like, I could do it myself. And I've had people say that to me. I was like, you charge what? Like, I could do that myself, but you couldn't though, because if you could, you would have already done it. Like, you'd be doing it. And what you have right now isn't working for you, which is why you're here talking to me. And the truth is, especially what I do, it's so much more than just the writing. I don't just call myself a copywriter. I'm an email strategist and copywriter, an email conversion strategist and copywriter. I am a conversion expert. Figure out how to turn your leads into customers. And that starts not with just writing. Like, I don't just start writing. It's a huge process. It starts with me interviewing you, and then me doing customer surveys or customer interviews with your customers so that I can really get into their mind. I'm trained in conducting this research, and I spent a lot of years getting to the point where I am so that I can figure out how to interview your customers, what I need to ask them, and then what it all means. Like, what does it mean? And then how do I turn that into emails that made one of my clients £1.2 million or another one $170,000 in 7 days. Like, this is a long process. And only after all of that customer research can I then sit down and start writing. That is just such a small part of the process. And that deserves to be kind of fairly paid for.
Absolutely. More than £15 an hour, girl.
Absolutely.
What is one thing that you wish you knew about list building in the beginning?
That it can be slow. Organic growth can be slow. And that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong, just that organic growth can be slow. But the good thing is that while it might take you, a few years to build a list of a few thousand, which is at the stage that I'm at now for my own newsletter, the good news is that that's okay, because I don't need 10,000 people on my newsletter. I need 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, maybe really great engaged people who really want to get the emails and who will at some point buy from me. And so at the moment, my email list is at 2,100, which I feel like is really doable for small business owners. And of course, I'm constantly trying to grow it. I can still launch and make good money from that list.
I feel like I'm very guilty of this, in that I look at my list sometimes and it's small, it is mighty. It's small but mighty. It's definitely a slower process than Instagram. And I think that's something you have to get used to in the beginning, in that it does take time, it takes nourishment, it takes value. So it ain't going to be 1,000 followers straight off the bat. It's patience.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is one thing you see people do badly when it comes to their copy? Juicy.
Very juicy. I'm going to say that they talk about themselves maybe a little bit too much. The thing about great copy is that you always have your audience in mind. You're always thinking about them. You're always thinking about, what they need to hear. And so often you'll go on a website or you'll get someone's email, and the entire email or website just says, I'm this and I'm that, and I do this and I do that, and me. Everything's about me. And a really great way to counter that is to just follow the rule that you should use the terms you should use the term you more than you use the terms me and I, because that just means that the focus is on the right person. And because honestly, when a customer or a potential customer comes to you, yes, they want to know who you are. Absolutely. Yes, you can get your personality across. Absolutely. But they want to know not just about you, but they want to know why you can help them, why they should hire you. It's always about them. It always comes back to the audience. So sometimes the copy that I see is very kind of me focused when it should be talking to the audience and it should be about them.
After this, I'm actually going to go through my website and look at how many times I use the word I and me. I'm instantly self-conscious.
It's a really good tip.
I love that. Okay.
It's not just you though. It's not you, it's everyone.
So last question, advice to anybody looking to level up their copy game. What is one easy, quick tip that they could do to just level it up at the end of this week?
I'm going to say, I've kind of already said this, but I'm going to say it again because it's really important. Stop thinking about you writing to like hundreds and thousands of people. And just when you're writing, just think about one person. Think about your most ideal client. Who did you absolutely love working with? You know, it was just a great process from beginning to end. If you could have like 1 million of that one person, you would. Think of that one person and then base all your copy that you write around them. When you are writing, think of that person and write directly to them. Because if you do that and then you put that out into the world, you will attract more of that one person and you will get more of those people coming to you.
Man, you have been incredible. I have learned so much. I literally want to spend hours talking to you about emails. I know there's going to be people listening who have tried copy before. I know there are. I know I've spoken to them. There are people who just aren't naturally inclined to writing. For those people, obviously, you can hire a copywriter. That is literally something you can outsource. And pretty much everybody at some level of their career, if they're going on to 6 figures, probably should start outsourcing that. So would you mind using this section of the podcast to tell us about what you offer? Because you're so valuable.
Oh, thank you so much. So yes, you can absolutely hire me to do your emails for you. So we can come up with a strategy of how we can start getting subscribers to buy your stuff, hire you. And so you can hire me to either do, I mean, if you already have some kind of email strategy or, email program up and running, if you already do have an email list and you're sending emails, you can hire me to do an email audit where I'll give you I'll analyze your existing email strategy and what you're already sending out. And then I'll give you very kind of direct, tailored recommendations on how you can start increasing conversions and make more money. And then you can implement those recommendations yourself, or you can just hire me to do the whole thing. So yes, you can hire me. You can go to my website, emancopyco.com. You can check out the results that I've been able to get for other clients there. You can check out my process, what it looks like to work with me, how we'd work together. And you can fill in the contact form and get in touch. And let me know that you found me on Kayleigh's podcast as well. It's always great to hear which podcast interviews people are coming from.
Do you offer a course as well? Did I see that in my homework?
Actually, I have. I'm currently working on a welcome sequence bootcamp. So if you don't have a welcome sequence, which is the very first, like the foundation of email marketing, I would recommend everyone has a welcome sequence. It's a great way to kind of make automated sales and to really nurture your audience so that we can create that trust factor that we've been speaking about all for the past hour. I'm working on my welcome sequence bootcamp now, actually. And so I don't know when this episode will go out, but hopefully the bootcamp is going to be at the end of November. And it'll be really a bootcamp where the focus is on implementation, so that you come in, I teach you how to create this sequence, and then I actually help you do it, plan it, write it, so that by the end of it, you leave with this entire sequence that you can just put into place and, make it go live and start making you some money.
That sounds so valuable. Oh my God, Eman, you're going to kill me. I don't have a welcome sequence.
I want to see you in my boot camp. So here's the thing. I know you're going to be in Japan, but
I just go in. They just get the email straight away.
This is the thing. Well, that's the thing. Exactly. So the welcome sequence is there because as soon as they sign up, they'll ideally go into your welcome sequence, and your welcome sequence is about you showing them around your business and you. It's the introduction. So if you're about to buy a house, right, you get taken around kind of every room. They give you a guided tour, and it's really that. It's you holding their hand and guiding them through the introduction of you and your business. So you get to tell them everything you want to tell them so that they can get to the point by the end of the sequence, which can last over the course of a week, where they like you, they know you, and they trust you. And they know that they like your emails. And so then when you start sending your regular newsletters twice a week, like we spoke about, they know everything they need to know about you and your business. And you know that every single subscriber who is getting your regular newsletter has been through the welcome sequence. So everyone knows what they need to know about you in order to want to hire you and work with you. And that just makes selling so much easier. So not only can you make sales in the welcome sequence, but for those people that don't buy in the welcome sequence, well, they're still primed to buy, and they will buy, but just when they're ready.
Oh, thank you so much, Eman, for your time today. I know we went a little bit over. Just thank you so much. You have given so much. I think this is the most actionable podcast episode I have yet. So thank you so much.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. And I do want to say that if you want to learn how to get actionable, really easy to implement tips that boost your email conversions, sign up to my free email class. It's totally free. It's 35 minutes long, so it's super fast, and it'll teach you the kind of the basics of really great email marketing. It's called the Email Rules, and I'll give you the link so people can sign up. They'll also get my welcome sequence and then my regular newsletter as well.
I love that. It's in the show notes, guys. Check it out. I know I'm going to be. Thank you so much, Eman. I've so loved this chat. Thank you so much for just all of your wisdom today, and for free on a podcast. That's incredible, right?
It is. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
You have been listening to a podcast by Kayleigh. Thank you so much for tuning in today and being on this mission with me to self-improvement and taking steps towards financial empowerment. If you liked what you heard today, be sure to follow me on the gram @ByKayleigh where I post pretty much daily. I would also love to hear your thoughts, feedback, and energy. So please do leave me a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you are listening today. In the meantime, I want you to go forward, believe in yourselves, and be the change you want to see. Bye, guys.